DevOps architect, is a technologist, startup advisor, and best-selling author at VMware. With nearly 18 years of experience in the IT industry, he helps clients secure future of anywhere workspace to improve their efficiency and digital experience. He has filed multiple patents to increase network quality and reduce troubleshooting cost. He joins us today to cover the technology architecture and benefits of VMware Anywhere Workspace platform so that modern applications built on multi-cloud platform can scale up digital business. With that, I would now like to invite onto our screens Mr. Prashant Pandey, also known as Aki-san in Japan. Let's all welcome him with a big round of applause.
It's my pleasure to talk to you on how to secure future of work. I'm also known as Aki-san in Japan. I have helped customers for a decade to build their future of work so that their efficiency and productivity increases. 10 years back, it felt that it's 30 years away. 8 years back, it felt that it's 15 years away. But 2 years back, it felt that it arrived. You all know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about not just making applications, but giving applications quickly to people wherever they are. And that's the key of DevSecOps when you're building application. So after COVID, I went and talked to my clients. And the same question, which I asked them, I want to put in front of you. And the question was, what is the benefit of hybrid work? 70% of my clients said hybrid work is beneficial for them in 3 ways. The first, it's allowing them to access the global diverse pool quickly anywhere in the world. Second, it's giving them a competitive differentiator, especially in the digital economy, which is growing very fast. And number 3, it's improving their employee experience because employees are able to build and access applications very quickly. But at the same time, it was not easy for them to adopt hybrid work as a strategy. And hence, they were asking me a question about how can I accelerate and secure the future of work strategy? And to that point, when I asked them what are the challenges they are facing to build and secure their future of work, they said 3 things. In fact, I want you to put that in chat window too, based on priority. The first problem they said they were facing was to measure the digital employee experience. It was not enough to give applications to people. It was important to measure the experience that they were having on those applications. Second, as more and more people went outside the data center, outside the office, the data got exposed. And that was the risk of compliance and threat which they were dealing with and are still struggling with. And third, and most important part, which they said was a challenge for them, is application performance. Performance of application over infrastructure as a service, performance of application on a non-performing device, performance of application because of a bad network area. And this being said, they said to me that there are 2 strategies they're adopting. Strategy number 1, where they're buying products over products and getting into technical depth. And they do agree that that was not a long-term solution. On the other side, many of my clients who are leading, pioneering, and are thought leaders are approaching to secure future of work in a very strategic way, which is a journey. And that journey uses 3A framework, which I'm going to share with you. So let me share with you the 3A framework, which you can apply to secure your future of work when you are building and delivering applications to people to improve their experience. As you all know, we are IT, and most of the time we care about developing, building, and operating applications. But what's the point of innovating in applications if you can't give it to people so that your business can be quicker? And where do people access applications? They access application on devices. The devices which are laptop, the devices which are mobile, the devices which are AR, VR glasses, and so on and so forth. So the first thing we should do to build and secure your future of work is to aggregate the view of devices so that you are able to deliver these applications quickly on those devices. For example, if you are building application for web browser, it will not work on mobile phone. If you are building applications for a mobile phone, it will not work on browser. And if you are keen and cool and are experimenting with metaverse, you all know the AR, VR application doesn't work either on laptop or mobile phone often. The first step is when you aggregate the endpoints on which your employees, your people, your customers are going to access application, you get the percentage mix of the user choice. You can give them applications, you can't give them device. Hence, it's very, very important that on a per day, per month, and over a year, you should be able to understand the device landscape on which your application is going to be accessed. And for you who are more keen to understand the complexity of device type, you can understand that the Android camera frame rate is not same as iPad camera frame rate, is not same as iOS camera frame rate. The decoding and encoding which happens on the device at the application level, it's not the same across legacy desktop versus mobile. For you who are keen on understanding that, shall I go and build application for AR, augmented reality or virtual reality devices, have to ensure that your network infrastructure is ready when you're delivering application. And to that point, your latency has to be enough, your jitter has to be low, and so on and so forth. So the first step I strongly recommend everyone in IT to do is have an aggregated view of endpoints. Once you're able to aggregate the view of endpoints, the second thing you can do is to secure it. On a mobile device, you can have mobile threat detection, while on the desktop and laptop form factor, you can have antivirus running. In either of these approaches, you are actually securing the data which is running on the device. And this ensures that the data at rest is secure, even though you're not connected. This is the first important step. And you will get this as soon as you aggregate the view of device, the view of application, and the view of data, and protect it with endpoint as part of 3A framework. Now, we have delivered the applications, and we are using DevSecOps in IT side to build and secure applications. But the users can't work in isolation. They have to connect to application and data so that they can be productive and efficient. Here, you should have a zero trust based principle which states that no user, no device, no application should connect to data unless it's trusted. I will repeat myself because this is the main key takeaway of my session. No user, no device, and no application should connect to data unless it's trusted. And that you can do when you are actually able to analyze the state of the device when it tries to connect to your application over a network, where along with the application, you have data residing. Not only you analyze just the connection part, you're also able to analyze the content which is transmitting in. You are able to analyze the traffic which should go to the corporate, or you should be able to segment the non-business traffic so that it doesn't choke your network infrastructure. At the same time, it doesn't provide or rather bring in any antivirus or malware resources into your network website. That's just the connection part. But as and when users are able to use application, you will be able to see and analyze. Analyze what? Analyze the performance. The performance of device per minute, per second, per month. Analyze the performance of applications as a function of network. For example, your application can work absolutely fine if it's working in a low latency network, but the application can degrade significantly, either if the compute on the device or the network latency is not enough for the application to perform. This instant continuous feedback mechanism helps you to have the continuous analysis of the behavior of the system before it connects to the data, behavior of the system on a continuous basis when it's connected to the data. Once you're able to achieve this state, you will have an organization where you're ready to make things autonomous. Because in state number one, you are able to aggregate the device, application, and security. In step number two, you're able to analyze the continuous data which is coming in inside the pipe. And you are able to also filter the content which is relevant and which is not relevant. For example, the gambling side, the social side, the malware side, the porn side, and all kind of bad actors are not allowed and should not be allowed, and that should be automatically dropped before the system connects back. At the same time, the applications which are your corporate applications, your productivity applications, your email applications, your data applications, your content applications, they should be prioritized compared to the personal traffic. For example, Netflix. If my son is watching Netflix now as I do this Zoom recording and session, and I have a limited network, the system should automatically prioritize the Zoom recording over Netflix because work is always important than personal thing. And imagine where all this happens. It happens at the layer where you're analyzing things. So now you have arrived at your second step of a journey where you have connected the secure device and are able to transmit the data and analyze the data so that things are secure. However, DevOps talk about predictions. DevOps talks about agility, and DevOps talk about security. And that can only be achieved when your system is autonomous. And that's the third step in which you can start automating things. Automation is not about cost of purchase. Automation is about cost of prediction. For example, because you have step one and step two complete, and you have the data lake of application, devices, network, and security contexts, you will be able to write simple low-code, no-code, cloud-based policy, which will make the devices and system autonomous. And I'd like to give an example of it. Today in the world, when we get corona, what do? We self-isolate ourselves, we get better, we connect back. But if you try to take the same analogy and try to apply to the devices, are they able to do that? No. Why? Because they are not as smart as you. They are not autonomous as you. And they are not automatic like you, because you haven't written enough code in your dev and SecOps platform to make them smart. So if you take that example and imagine that you have written a simple policy, not at the level of network, not at the level of device, and not at the level of firewall, or not at the level of ACL, or not at the level of any DevOps, DevSecOps container, but at a layer which is on a cloud. And the policy simply states that if the device is not healthy, it should quarantine. And you might be thinking, is it possible? Yes, it is, provided the choice of platform that you make. And that simple example of automated policy will ensure that device will get out of the way of user efficiency if it's not performing well. At the same time, because you're giving user choice to pick the device that he or she wants, he can start working on other device. And for that, you have to ensure that the application is able to work on the other device form factor too, which you have done in step number one. So that gives us the power of device automation and autonomy. Let's look at the second parameter, which we should automate for application, and that's performance of application itself. Application performance is a function of network. It's a function of compute available on the device, and it's a function of the protocol which application uses. All these three can be combined together as a function and written as a simple policy so that you are able to maximize the performance of the application, not in a manual way, but in an automated way. Simplest example, Netflix. Have you ever seen that you have to go and change your router during the course of the program when the Netflix is not performing optimally? Have you ever gone and called Netflix or raised a ticket to them when applications are not performing correctly? Have you ever gone and changed your network latency settings yourself or called someone to change that if Netflix is not performing optimally? Highly likely no. So if you're able to have this behavior of application performance in consumer life, what's stopping your corporate or enterprise to build the same level of autonomy of delivering application performance to your users, where they are doctors, users where they are students, users where they are bankers, users where they are working from anywhere and becoming efficient using Anywhere Workspace? So that's an example of performance. And let's talk about the third autonomy, which is security. In our step number 1 and 2, we are able to see and ensure that no user, no device, and no application is able to connect to the data. But now, when they are able to connect to the data, we should be able to analyze the bad behaviors and should be able to differentiate them with the good behavior so that our security is autonomous. And I'll give you an example of that. Imagine every day, 9 a.m. here in Singapore, my laptop boots. And when it boots, it has a boot time of 1.2 seconds, and it has a network throughput of, say, 1.1 gig. Any variance of this, these two parameters by 10% is good behavior. But on one fine day, if my system boots and is taking more than 2 seconds and has a network bandwidth which is ranging to 1 meg, you can instantly say that something is not right. And that's a classic example of user behavior analytics, where you are able to understand the user behavior, you are able to understand the device behavior, you are able to understand the network behavior, and are able to correlate together so that you are able to automate that part and are bringing zero trust-based security, which is autonomous in nature. Other thing I wanted to tell you, in security, there are two parts which humans can do and they can't. The first is human can fix the problem. So if somebody raises a ticket, you can go and fix it. Or if the threat detected, there's a vulnerability detected, you can go and unplug things or fix the patch. What you can't do as a human is a continuous monitoring. Continuous monitoring of device health, continuous monitoring of network health, continuous monitoring of application health. And that's where the part is where we are seeing robots coming into play. I'm not sure if you heard the term called cobots, but the collaborative robots are becoming and are actually exponentially increasing the power of DevOps. For example, imagine there's a cobot which is continuously monitoring the performance of the device every second. And if it sees a behavior which is not consistent or usual, it raises a flag for human intervention. And then humans either automatically or manually can ensure that the problem is resolved. In some cases, human can also instantly connect to the end device to resolve the issue using remote assistance. So as I talk to customer in this to secure the future of workspace, I am seeing the emerging trend of cobots, which is collaborative robots, to ensure that these applications which are built on multi-cloud platform are delivered securely to not just thousands, not just millions, but billions of devices at a pace which has never been done before. So that being said, we saw today the 3A framework and how you can apply that in your DevOps or DevSecOps strategy to build and deliver application quickly on any platform. And if you use this, I can promise you your organization will be having a competitive edge against your competition. Your organization will grow at the need of demand of the digital business. And more importantly, you'll be able to hire and groom and train more people so that your organization becomes more profitable as you're simplifying the DevSecOps with agility using 3A framework. So let's aggregate, let's analyze, and let's automate using less number of platforms so that you are able to deliver securely your future of work. Thank you so much for listening to my session. I'm more than happy to have feedback from you, and I look forward to talk to you soon. Have a great time, and thank you for now. Bye.